Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and I was lucky enough to get access to the Earthborne Rangers Tabletop Simulator mod. I'm going to be showing you a solo playthrough today. And this one is currently on Kickstarter. As of the airing of this video, there should be about 4 or 5 days left, so go ahead and check it out. And if you want to hear more about the game, our own Jason Perez did some interviews with some of the designers. They're on his YouTube channel, Shelf Stories, as well as on our podcast. And quick disclaimer, just like all our Kickstarter coverage, we're receiving no compensation for this one. Just want to help you make an informed decision. But also a disclaimer that while this game is not being published by Blacklist Games, I am friends with the Sadler brothers, and Peter and I, Peter from the podcast, have designed a game that hopefully we'll be announcing soon for Blacklist. So I know the Sadlers, it shouldn't affect my coverage of this, but just want to put that out there for your own information. So Earthborne Rangers is sort of a campaign-based, free-roaming game. You can do missions or just travel around. You've got this valley that you are protecting. I'm going to start at the White Sky location, but then I can travel from there. And you've got this sort of shared board here that has both the surroundings, very important cards, we'll get to those in a second, as well as the along the way cards that are kind of shared by all of the players, although I'm just playing solo here. And then each player also has their own individual character area, which again, I'm only playing one character, so this will be it, but you can play, I think, up to 4 players. And the surroundings, again, you have very important cards. You've got your weather card. We're in the middle of a downpour with 4 rain tokens on it. I'm representing it with a die here. And this will continually tire me out with rainstorms. You can change up the difficulty with these weather cards, but this is the only one in the demo that I'm aware of. I've also got the landscape, the location I'm currently at. As you'll see, everything is concept art and prototypes. I don't think this is the final deal. This is White Sky. You'll see it has some keywords at the top. Landscape, water, structure, trail. Those are interacted with by different cards. It also has an action at the bottom you can use, some numbers in the upper left and right. We'll get to what those mean soon. And it's got a little book icon and a 200. We're going to jump to the campaign guide in a moment to see what that means. And finally, we've got our current mission. Again, you can play the game just kind of free roaming, but you can also choose to do a mission. So right now we're trying to search for our friend who has gotten lost. This is someone that I think you would have met during the tutorial, but in the demo you just kind of jump in. And it's got some rules there. It's got 3 little icons that are going to affect the challenges, our tests that we take, basically. We'll get to what all that means soon. And the character I'm searching for is going to go underneath the mission, so until we can actually get to them, we can't do much. Now we're going to form this path deck that is kind of the stuff we can encounter in our current location, and it's made up of cards keyed to our location, if our location has any of those cards. If not, we just use generic valley cards. So here we're going to take the 3 White Sky cards, and we also include whichever of the 3 basic terrain type decks that we traveled to get here. You'll see these on the intersections between locations. So if we went from the Aatrox Mountains to White Sky, we would go over mountainous terrain. If we went from White Sky to Lone Tree, we could either travel through the forest or along the wetlands. But because I'm starting here, I can pick whichever one I want. They recommend waterfront, but I've seen that a few times. So let's try out the mountains and White Sky. So I just shuffle these 15 cards together. And these will become my path deck. And this is sort of an LCG, so this deck is kind of like, you know, the threat deck from Marvel Champions or the Mythos deck from Arkham LCG. And in a moment, I'm going to draw some cards from there and walk you through how the game is played. But first, let's get to my player area. So first of all, each character has an aspect card, and this is chosen when you create your character. You'll have these 4 aspects: focus, fitness, awareness, and spirit, each keyed to different types of tests and such. And you get that many tokens every round. These are like your main resources. So I'll have 3 focus tokens every round, 2 spirit tokens, etc. And when you build your character, you pick one of the 4 to be a 3 and one of the 4 to be a 1, so you're extra good at one thing and extra weak at something else. You also pick your role. I'm an exceptional tinkerer, which gives me an ability every turn I can exhaust to add a token to my gear card so I can get extra use out of my gear. Every character gets this universal action reference card. It gives you 4 key actions, 1 for each of your aspects. You'll see fitness, spirit, focus, and awareness going down there with just the little acronyms. And finally, I'll have my unique 30-card Ranger deck. I've already drawn 6 cards from it, which is what you start with. This is built by the player in an LCG deck construction format, although there are some limitations based on which things you pick for your character. But here in the demo, they built it for me, so I've not actually tried out character building. But here are some of the cards I've drawn. My character's all about gear, so I've got favorite gear. I attach it to another gear, and it gives me bonuses when I use that gear. I've got a field journal that can let me do better with locations and stuff by like writing down notes about them. I've got a canteen that, for all intents and purposes, kind of gives me extra tokens, like my aspect tokens, to do actions. Pocketed belt pouch is going to let me search through my deck for other items. I'm going to use that one very quickly. Trail markers help me overcome trails and locations more easily and move on. And then carbon forged cable, I can tie up enemies that try to get to me, move them away, lots of cool stuff. So like I said, I start by drawing 6 cards, and then I resolve any setup stuff for my current landscape, which is White Sky. It says draw a path card, and I'll flip it back over to its other side. And great, we got a friggin' Death Cat over here at Aatrox. So this is a being card and a predator. You'll see those keywords at the top, which generally means they're going to mess with you and attack you. You can also get beings that are people you can talk to. And let's look at some of the key things here. In the upper left, you've got their harm or their progress value. If it's a red icon, it's harm, which means you have to basically beat them up to have them go away. If it's a blue value, it's progress, which means you either have to befriend them or like walk around there if it's a landscape. The value in the upper right is its challenge value, which is mainly the amount of fatigue damage it'll deal to you when different things happen. It's got the keyword ambush. We'll get to that in a second. It's got a fitness action you can take. A lot of the cards in the game, both your own and the path cards, will have actions that are inherent to that card. So basically, I can try to get in this giant cat's face and challenge his dominance of this territory. And we'll get to how those checks work in a second. And then we've got some of the 3 icons. You've got the yellow sun, the red, whatever that is, and like kind of a blue sort of mountain icon. Those will also come in as we do actions and checks. But okay, the fact that I can just scare this guy away instead of fighting him, I'm liking that. And by the way, before we get further into cat warfare, let's read this little narrative intro to our location, White Sky, because it had a little book icon in the 200. From your vantage point, you can see much of the southern shore of White Sky Lake, from the froth of rapids at the head of the Silverfin River to the mix of rocky promontories and pebble-strewn beaches that slowly curve around towards the opposite shore. Offshore, you see the village of White Sky. The entire community lives on structures reminiscent of massive parasols, broad, conical constructions made out of layers of forged carbon, layered again by solar panels. Rising up from the docks at water level, a spiral staircase wraps around the pole and links the platforms together. Several boats come and go from the docks. So unlike some of the games I've covered recently, this is not a game where you're just reading all the time. It's mostly gameplay and card play, but you will have these little interludes for your missions and as you meet people and that kind of stuff. Okay, but back to the game. This guy has the ambush keyword. That means that he's going to immediately attack me for that upper right challenge value too. And usually you don't get hurt from enemy effects in this game. You just get fatigued, just like the water from the rainstorm is going to fatigue me. So that means you take cards without looking at them and turn them into your fatigue pile here. And if your deck ever runs out from a mix of drawing more cards and taking fatigue, then that is the end of the day. And you're forced to stop this session, and you'll have to pick up trying to do your mission kind of over again the next day. And speaking of my mission, let's look at that before we get into the actual first full round. So I'm searching for my friend, and this one says when a feature comes into play, this is a keyword on some cards, I place 2 trail tokens on it. And whenever I clear a card with trail tokens on it, I get those tokens on this card. And when there are 4 times the number of rangers, which is 1, so 4 tokens or more, I look at entry 100 in the book. So to find my friend, I need to just kind of go around looking at features and clearing them, which you'll see means kind of like overcoming them until I get at least 4 tokens, since it's just one of me. And again, it has those 3 icons that you'll see as we get into our first test. But that is set up. Let's walk through the actual first round and how it all goes. So the first step of each round is that each ranger, one at a time, will draw a path card. So I'm going to draw one now. And this one this time is a feature. It is Shale Scree. And a feature means it's going to get 2 of those tokens from the mission. So I can start looking for my friend here. Now, it's also an obstacle, which means it's going to prevent me from exploring things that are past it. And what do I mean by past it? Well, you've kind of got like this nearness to your character concept. You have some cards within reach, and by the way, the cat should be within reach. Then past within reach is along the way, which again is shared by all players within reach, is personal to each player. And then finally, the surroundings are even further away than that. So basically, because it's an obstacle, these giant mountain outcroppings will prevent me from doing anything with the White Sky landscape, like putting tokens on it to travel to a new location. I'm kind of stuck with the mountains in my way. And as you've already seen with a lot of things, it has its own challenge icons at the bottom, just the blue mountain one here. It's got its own fitness test I can take. Now, I mentioned that I should have put in the Aatrox in my within reach area. How do I know that? If you look near its name, there's a little arrow to the right of its name pointing down. Down means it goes within reach of the ranger who drew it, while the up arrow here on the Shale Scree shows that it goes in the along the way shared area. All right, but that's it for the path phase of my turn. Now we get into the vast majority of the turn, which is the action phase. And what can I do during the action phase? First of all, I can play cards from my hand. Each card you'll see has a number in the upper left with a color behind it. So this is a 1 blue for focus. This is a 1 green for awareness. And those correspond to your aspect tokens. So if I, for example, wanted to play my pocketed belt pouch, it would cost me 1 green, so I'd have to move my single awareness token. That's my worst stat. And I could not pay any other green cost this round. And generally speaking, gear like this pocketed belt pouch will go into your play area where it says equipped gear. And if you note to the right of the name, the 5 little boxes and one of them is shaded in, that shows how much of my 5 inventory this fills up. So I now have 4 more spots for gear. So then if I also equip this Infusion Canteen, for example, I would now be using 3 of my 5 spots with 2 more blocks. And if you get over 5, you just have to get rid of some gear to make some room. Now, some cards aren't gear. This trail markers is called an attachment, and it tells you what it attaches to. In this case, attached to any one trail, it says in that middle section. So these go on other cards. They can mess up enemies or make it easier for you to do things. And finally, I don't actually have any, but there are cards called moments, which are kind of like immediate events, and then you discard them. But what do I care about any of that? There is a giant cat in my face, and he already hurt me. Should I try to do the challenge? So let's talk about how actions work. So let's assume we're going to go against this Aatrox, stare it in the eyes, try to show our dominance. You'll see that it is a fitness test, so it says Fit plus Heart. Fit plus Heart, Challenge 3. That means we're going to use our fitness aspect. We'll have Heart as the bonus. I'll show you what that means in a second. Our total result, our total effort, needs to be at least 3 or higher to succeed, the number in brackets. And if we succeed, we get the first effect, which says put this being on the top of the path deck. For most tests, that's it. You don't have a failure effect, except that you wasted your resources. But this one says if you fail, he injures you as well as does doing nothing. So that's awesome. Wait, he goes on top of the path deck. I'm just scaring away for a moment. I don't want to do half measures. I want to get rid of this guy. So let's be a little safer with things and not show you a test with that guy first. And let's play our Carbon Forge Cable. So it costs 1 of my 2 fitness. Now just move that to the side to show I don't have it anymore. And it says attached to a predator or prey within reach, what this guy is, and it has a 3 links in a little box on the right there. So to mark that, I can put 3 generic tokens, or in this case, just a die with the 3 value. And it says I can exhaust this monster. This doesn't count as an action, and if I was playing multiplayer, we would take turns taking actions. But I can exhaust this and use one of the links to exhaust the attached being. And I could even do a fitness test to move the animal away to a different location, like into the shared area. But for now, let's just go boom, boom, bye-bye. So he's exhausted. And when something's exhausted, that does a few things. First of all, the sun and the red icon at the bottom will not trigger. Again, you'll see those when we do tests. But also, instead of him interfering with me, if I try to interact with something further along, like the scree or the landscape, while he's exhausted, he won't do anything at all. So I can just go do my business. And speaking of my business, I do have this shale scree. And I can do a fitness test to climb it with difficulty 2. Oh, and sorry, I didn't finish explaining tests. So the second icon corresponds to the icons on the left of each card in your hand. So you see how favorite gear has the same icon as the icon next to the Fit Plus on the Shale Scree action? So if I discarded favorite gear when I was going to take this test, it would give me +1 to the test. Same thing with trail markers, or pocketed belt pouch, I have a lot of those. I also gain 1 effort for every token of the matching aspect that I spend, and the key thing is to take an action you must have and spend at least 1 token from that aspect. So if I had no fitness tokens left, I couldn't initiate a test against the tiger. I couldn't try to climb the mountain. But again, for each token you spend, you get 1 effort, as well as each matching icon you discard, like favorite gear. And then you take that total of effort and you flip over the top challenge card and you look at the matching aspect. So here, because it was a fitness test, it would modify my effort by 0. So I would have, the 2 that I spent or whatever. These numbers go from -2 to +1, but there's only a single -2 for each aspect. And there's 6 +1s, 10 zeros, and 9 -1s. So you actually have a 2/3 chance, if you just make your effort match the difficulty of the test, of succeeding. It's a pretty gentle system compared to something like Arkham LCG with the Chaos Bag. So if I had discarded 1 card and spent 1 fitness, I would have the 2 with that 0, and I would resolve the effect. So here I'd place some progress on this, and we'll get to what that means in a second. But after I finish fully resolving the action that I drew the challenge card for, I'm then going to deal with the icon that came up here. It's one of those 3 icons you've been seeing. This little crystal icon means that I'll shuffle it back into the deck. That happens whenever you draw one of the -2 cards. What I do is basically in reading order from top to bottom. So first in the surroundings, then here, and then in my own play area. I'm going to resolve every effect that has the matching icon. So search has the red. It says the urgency of the task weighs on you, suffer 1 fatigue. So I would have to fatigue another card from the top of my deck because of that red icon. But the Scree's blue icon wouldn't activate. And our friend the Aatrox does have a red effect, but you don't activate anything that is exhausted. So him being tied up in my filament or whatever would keep him from, oh my gosh, causing me to take an injury because I have at least 2 fatigue. That'd be nasty. Now, I mentioned progress. The Shale Scree's action says add 2, sort of tent icon for every effort. That's called progress. And if you look in the upper left of the Shale Scree, it says 2R with that same blue kind of tent icon. And that means for every ranger to overcome this and clear it away, get rid of it, we need to have 2 progress on it. So with me being a solo ranger, I would just need 2. So actually, if I did that fitness action and climbed it, I would get, 2 progress for every effort. So it requires at least a 2, but getting a 2 would give me 4 progress, more than I need. If I fail, it would fatigue me for 2 more cards. But once I got at least 2, I would clear it away. So it would go to the discard pile, would not be blocking me from exploring White Sky more. And with the mission, I would get these 2 tokens. And remember, I only need 4 of them to search successfully. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot at you. Sorry if it's a little bit overwhelming, but we're almost done all the basics of the game. So you also have these 4 universal actions, and again, they key to each of the aspects. So fitness lets you traverse. It lets you put progress only on landscapes or features like that rocky one. But if you fail, you can suffer 1 injury. The universal spirit action is to connect and add progress to beings. But note that the Aatrox, for example, does not have the blue progress icon in the upper left. He has the red harm icon. So you can talk to him all day long. It won't do anything. You got to beat him up to have him go away. And there are no universal actions that let you cause harm to monsters. You have to do other things or use like weapons from your deck to make that happen. There's also an alternative action with Spirit. You can soothe fatigue from a ranger, including yourself. That does not put it back in your deck, so fatigue is still going to make you go through your deck faster, which remember will end the session when you run out of cards. Instead, soothing fatigue means it goes straight to your hands. You get some more cards to use. Focus also lets you draw cards, the basic remember action. And then awareness lets you exhaust beings. So if I didn't have my rope to tie up that tiger guy, I could instead use the green action and try to exhaust him that way. And the difficulty of that is a presence value. I think I called it a challenge value, but it's called presence. That's the amount of fatigue they cause you, that number in the upper right. All right, so I'm talking a lot. Mike, shut up. Let's play our pocketed belt pouch for 1 green because I want to use its skill, my open skill down there, to search my deck for an item, get my bow so I can shoot some of these monsters. So there we go. My 1 awareness is gone for the turn. And it's currently got 3 pockets, 3 uses on it. And by the way, my exceptional tinker, I can exhaust him once per turn to add 1 token to any gear. So I could give this a 4th pocket. I could give my rope a 3rd use. Very useful. Now, I would love to take this green test and get my bow right now. But oh no, I don't have any green left to do that. So you know what? Let's go ahead and get my infused canteen played. That's 2 more gear spots. And that costs 1 of my 3 focus, my best one. I'm going to put 3 sips on it. There we go. And I choose an aspect when I play this, and those sips are going to act like extra tokens for that aspect. So I'm going to go ahead and pick awareness because, again, I want to use my pockets. And if a test like this open test doesn't have a difficulty indicated in brackets, it's just 1. So if I get at least 1 effort left over, I will succeed. Let's see, the opening uses the compass icon, which I have none of. So to hopefully make sure I succeed, I'm going to go ahead and use 2 of the tokens from my canteen to take this action. So this is my first real challenge. I need to get... Oh, no! Oh, what terrible luck. I got the only -2 for this aspect. 1 out of 24 chance. So I failed the test, but no negative for failing this one. And then I'm going to reshuffle this into the deck in a moment, but first I have to resolve all the suns. But the only card that has a sun is the mission, and it says, they must have come this way. Move 1 trail token from a feature to another feature. So if there was another feature out, I would have to move 1 from the scree to that, so the scree would have 1 and they would have 3, but there aren't any other features out, so nothing doing right now. Or you know what, that was a bummer. Let's try it again. I'm going to use my ability, exhaust my character, add a token here, and then spend them both. Gear can have 0 tokens. It doesn't go anywhere. I can still fill up my canteen. I'll take the open action again, and a +1. And wow, I'm reshuffling again. Oh, and sorry, I should have used a pocket each time I did this, so that'll leave me with 1 pocket. And you might have seen that red icon on the challenge card, but you do fully resolve the action before you resolve that. So I'm going to get to search for an item in my deck. And I'm absolutely going to get the weapon in my deck, the Sphere Cam short bow. It costs 3 focus. I only have 2, so I can't play it this turn. It uses up 2 gear spots. That'll be all 5 of mine, so if I play anything else, I'll have to discard something. But it has 3 arrows, and for an arrow, I can shoot using my focus. So that's my best aspect. Attacking gives me a way to hurt people like that lion trying to kill me. It's a nice card. Oh, you know what? I'm stupid. I should have used my favorite gear. So I'll do it now, but I won't go back and cheat. But I attach this to a gear for 2 focus, which I do have. And it says when I use a token from the attached gear, I soothe 1 fatigue. So again, I take a fatigue card and put it in my hand. So let's spend my other 2 focus. And it seems like I'll probably be using that canteen pretty often. Yeah, it's super dumb that I didn't put this on before I started taking those actions because I would have gotten both of these cards in my hand, but so it's okay. Oh wait, first I do have to resolve the red. I forgot. So once again, the only red in play is the mission. It says the urgency of a task, you already saw this one, weighs on you, I suffer 1 fatigue. So all these things coming at me, all these mountains making me tired. All right, I've still got some tokens left. Let's go ahead and try to climb the scree and get rid of it. So that's 1 fitness, the minimum I need to spend. But I need at least 2 to succeed. Let's see, both my trail markers and my field journal have the icon. Let's be crazy and discard both of these since I don't have the gear space for the field journal anyway. That gets me to 3 fitness, and wow, I'm drawing lucky this time. Oh, and it's another reshuffle and another red. Okay, so I go to 4, and it says for every effort I add 2 progress. So, oh my gosh, I would add 8 progress here. I only needed 2. If I fail, I would have gotten fatigued, but in this case, I do get rid of this. So when things are cleared, they go to the discard pile generally. And because I cleared one with the mission tokens, I get to put it over here. So I'm halfway to finding my friend. But now I resolve the red. Only one is here. I am going to take another fatigue. I'm getting tireder and tireder. Makes sense that climbing a bunch of rocks would do that to you. And all I've got left is 2 yellow. And you can stop your turn whenever you want. And by the way, you only draw 1 card at the end of each turn. So me only having 1 card left is not necessarily ideal. But the basic yellow action is the connect action. I can either put progress on a being there's nobody around to talk to, or I can soothe 1 fatigue from a ranger if I get at least 1 success. So let's go ahead and try doing that. Let's just do it once to make sure I succeed. So it was 2 yellow and a 0, so I do succeed. I'll take another fatigue, geez. So first I do the action, which means I get to gain 1 fatigue card to my hand, and then I fatigue another card. I don't know if that was really worth it. I got balance, by the way. Hey, it's finally a moment, the last type of card. Again, these are kind of like events. This one is a response, which means I have to play at a specific time. It says, after I succeeded a fitness action, refill 1 other energy type. This one is awesome. So like if I succeeded at a red test, I could then get all 3 of my blue tokens back, or all 2 of my yellow tokens. Awesome card. But that is the end of my turn. I choose to rest. If there were other rangers, they would get to continue their turn. But when we're all done, we're all going to exhaust our stuff. So that means the Liger or whatever he is back. We get all of our tokens back. And I draw a single card, and we're ready to go again. And I got another canteen. Probably not going to use that, although I guess it would get me 3 more sips, so maybe it's worth it. And one more thing that does happen at the end of each round, if I did have enough progress on White Sky here 2 times the number of rangers, so just 2 progress tokens, then I could choose to travel to a new landscape. I'd get a whole new deck. Any path cards that were out would go away, so I'd run away from all my monsters and things. And you'll sometimes need to do that for quests, and at least you get to look at some new cards, but for now, clearly I can't travel. And that was the end of the first round. You've basically seen all of the rules in the game. Let's jump into the next one. So we start by drawing a new path card. No, what is going on? It's another Aatrox. Stop calling your buddies over. Aren't you like solitary hunters? So he immediately engages me. And that's 2 more automatic fatigue from his ambush keyword. Yikes. All right, so what am I going to do? I guess I'm going to play my short bow. That's all 3 of my focus, though, so I can't actually shoot it this turn. Now let's see, I could use my pocketed belt pouch to draw my second carbon forged cable and tie up another cat. Maybe that's worth it. Or I could also do the fitness test on this guy and try to put him to the top of the deck. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? But I can only get 2 fitness, and I would need at least 3 to succeed, and I get injured otherwise. And I have 0 heart cards that would help me with that. Oh man, if I did succeed at a fitness test, I could refill my blue and then start shooting with my bow at them. That's an interesting idea. Well, for now, let's go ahead and exhaust my Carbon Forge Cable, use another token from it to exhaust that cat. Oh, I could use my green awareness to do the universal action Observe to try to exhaust him. I would need to get effort equal to his upper right presence value, which is 2 to exhaust him, and then I would have another turn to get my bow ready. But I only have 1 green, and my only card that would let me add to the test is my balance, and even then I'd only be at 0. Oh wait, I still have my canteen. Let's go ahead and exhaust my Exceptional Tinkerer, and I'll get another use out of that. So now I'm going to try to exhaust the guy with both my regular green token and my 1 drink from my canteen, which, by the way, will let me get a fatigue card into my hand, thanks to the canteen being my favorite gear. And it's a thoughtful, okay? And then I guess I'll use my balance to get to 3. Really don't want this guy to eat me and prevent my whole turn. So that's a 3 green. Nice, -1. We still succeed. So this cat is also exhausted. He will not affect us in any way for the rest of the turn. And the sun effect, remember, would move a feature token to another feature, but there aren't any. All right, but now what do I do with my 2 fitness and my 2 spirit? Well, I can start getting ready to get the heck out of White Sky. That way I don't have to waste all my bows killing those guys. So White Sky has its own green action that lets you scout. That means you look at as many path cards as the amount of effort you got. You pick 1 to put straight into play, and you put the rest on the top or bottom. So you can put like a bunch of enemies on the bottom and get cards that would actually let you complete your quest on the top. But I have no green, oh well, but I can traverse. That's a red fitness test, and that'll let me put tokens on a landscape or a feature. So that'll get me closer to traveling. So let's do that. So I'll spend both my fitness on this. And I could use, you know what, I will throw in my infusion canteen to get to 3. Because I don't really want to be here anymore. All right, so just need to not get a -2. Oh, or +1, so I got 4. Wow, so that's 4 progress on here. More than enough to travel at the end of the turn if I want to. And again, it was a sun, which does nothing at the moment. All right, very cool. And let's do the action I did last time. Spend 2 spirit to try to get 1 of my fatigue cards back. Hopefully I won't get fatigued in the course of doing this. Oh, I did, and I got -1, still enough to succeed. So I'm going to draw my top fatigue card. Then I have to resolve all the blue effects. Oh, we haven't seen this yet. Downpour. I'm going to remove 1 rain token out of 4, and then each ranger suffers 1 fatigue. And if it runs out of rain tokens, it flips, and you'll see what happens. Or for now, it's down to 3, and I take a fatigue. This blue, the trail grows cold. I remove 1 trail token from a feature, but there aren't any, so just the fatigue. And by the way, something I didn't fully explain, I said that cards that were in between cards you interacted with could mess with you. So when I went all the way to the landscape, I was passing over these closer cards, the Aatroxes. If they were not exhausted, I would have to suffer their purple value 2 for each of them in fatigue. Basically, they mess with me, kind of like opportunity attacks, as I go past them to do stuff. But the fact that I exhausted them stopped that from happening. All right, and that's all my stuff, so I'm going to draw a card. So I got Empathetic, just a lot of hearts. I got Spider Pad, gloves, another gear, although I don't have any room for it yet. I have to get rid of my canteen or something. But it lets me ignore obstacles and I can climb things. Very cool. Oh, and sorry, you know what? I realized I should not be drawing cards and ending the round until I decide to travel, because I'm not going to unexhaust these guys and then travel. That'd be terrible. You get to travel before you do all that stuff. So pretend I didn't draw a card yet, and let's go ahead and travel. Get out of White Sky. And where do we want to go? I could go to the Aatrox Mountains. That would be another mountainous terrain. I could go through the forest to Lone Tree or over the wetlands. I haven't done forest as much. I'm going to go ahead and go to Lone Tree that way. So all my equip stuff stays in play, and any cards that say persistent stay in play, but none of these do. So unfortunately, my gear on other people and other cards I've played like kind of into the general play area, they do get discarded, so my cord is gone. But both my nemesis are gone as well, so that's fine. And I take all of these path cards and get rid of them, separate them back out. And again, this time I'm going to Lone Tree through the forest, so I shuffle these together. And I set up Lone Tree. You'll see that it again has a draw a path effect. And I get Hanging Cherry Moss. That sounds a lot nicer than what I've been dealing with. It is a feature. Ooh, so it's going to have 2 more of those tokens, and I could find my friend. Now, this one is untraversable. It says it needs 3 progress in the upper left, but we cannot use the basic traverse action, the basic fitness action, like we did for the location before. Instead, we have to use its own action. It says fitness, a pluck the high-hanging fruit to add 1 progress to this feature and soothe 2 fatigue. But if you fail, suffer 1 injury. So we have to succeed 3 times, 3 separate fitness tests to fully explore this and get the 2 tokens for the mission. But look, there's lots of fun thematic interplay. So look at the bottom. If there's an active prey exhausted, when we get a sun effect, so I guess they get distracted by the moss and eating it instead of hunting us. Ooh, and that would actually add a progress to this feature. So basically, we're trying to get rid of all the moss to move on. All right, so that was a free one. The round is still about to end. And we should also read the Lone Tree Station for 300. Visible for miles around, Lone Tree is a single enormous giga redwood. I've always heard of giga redwoods, lovely trees, rising out of the thick grass of a high prairie. From far away, the tree is all you can see, but as you come closer, you can see the rest of the station. The large box garden plots hanging from the branches, the airship Swift moored to its dock in the tree's crown, the doors and windows carved into the trunk and peeking out from among the roots. Lone Tree Station has been the base of operations for the Rangers. Oh, so it's our base. That sounds safe. Ever since the people came to the valley, and ever since you began your training, it's been your home. Okay, so now we end the round. We get the card we drew. We get this unexhausted. No creatures to unexhaust. Very happy about that. We get all our tokens back. And just to check in, I have 13 cards left in my deck, so at most 13 more turns to play because you're always drawing at least 1 card a turn. And all right, we're going to draw another path card to start the next round. Oh, it's a Sitka Doe, and this is a prey, not a predator, which interacts with a lot of effects. So it is a being. It's got 3 red if I want to shoot it with my bow, 1 value to hurt me, and it is going to be in my area with that down arrow. Okay, with a spirit test, I can drive off this grazer, move this being within reach of another ranger. That won't help much in single player. There's a lot of things you can do for each other that don't matter in true solo. Okay, yellow won't do anything. It'll just move within reach. And blue, if there's an active predator exhausted, and it will attack the doe and deal damage to it. But right now there isn't. Ooh, but if we get the yellow, the prey, the doe will eat some of the moss and help us get that. Although since the doe is in our play area, if we try to go and deal with that moss, it will hit us for 1 fatigue each time. So maybe we want to exhaust it. Maybe I just shoot it with a bow, right? I mean, that's what my bow is for. So you know what? Sorry, doe. We're going for it. 3 focus, and I got to use 1 arrow. So I'm going to shoot it. I'll deal damage equal to my effort. So 3 will be enough to kill this straight up if I succeed. And a cool thing is, note the bottom of the short bow effect. Cards between you and that being do not fatigue you. So since it's a long-range weapon, even if there were like other enemies in the way and the doe was somewhere else, I would still not get hurt by them. Here we go, looking for a 0 or a +1 on blue. Yeah! We'll do the blue effect in a second. So this doe is straight up done. But unfortunately, the blue effect, I do lose a fatigue from the rain. Oh, no, I lose 1 trail token from the moss. Man, it's not even that useful anymore. Maybe I'll just ignore it. Although it does get me cards back from eating it, so All right, next I'm going to use my Exceptional Tinkerer, get a canteen back. And then I'm going to use both of my green tokens, 1 from the canteen and 1 from my own green to scout, trying to get some cards. Because I want to find a better feature than this moss. And with my favorite equipment, I get to draw my top fatigue card. Let's see. I could use my gloves to give +1 to this. You know what? I will, because I don't need to climb anything right now. So my total effort is currently 3. Ooh, it goes down to 2. So look at the top 2 cards, and I have to play one of them. Okay, one is a giant death spider, a caustic mulcher. That seems terrible. We're definitely putting him on the bottom of the deck. So I'm going to have to play the other one, the Kleptic Raccoon. Oh, it's another prey, so it might help me with the moss. And interesting, look, this one has a harm value in the upper left and a progress value. You can make friends with this little buddy. So for an awareness test, you can study and follow the curious critter to exhaust it and add progress equal to your effort. If you fail, draw a path card. Okay, so wandering after him, make something show up. If we clear him with progress, if I don't shoot an arrow into him, I can return 1 gear from my discard to my hand. Cool, he scavenges something for me. Oh, but look, on yellow effects, exhaust this being, discard an equipped gear, add 1 loot to this being. If there are 2 loot, shuffle it into the path. So it's going to rob me and then run away with its foul takings if I let it. And then again, with the blue, get attacked by a predator. So yeah, the mulcher, get out of my life. You are frightening. And the raccoon is replacing the doe. There's too much wildlife around here. Let's see, it's a green test to try to make friends with him. Or I could use the basic yellow test, the connect test, to try to be nice to him. That seems like a good thing to do. But first, let's resolve the yellows. So this one would make me move a feature token? No. Oh, no, this guy is robbing me. What? So he's exhausted. And I'm going to give him the belt pouch. I don't think I need to dig for any other things. So that's discarded. And he's halfway to running away. Oh, yeah, I want that guy gone. Let's try to make friends with him. We'll do a spirit test. I need at least 3 to befriend him fully. Ooh, but I add to the basic spirit action with hearts. I've got this empathetic card, so I'll discard that and get to 4, yes. Raccoon, you will be my buddy, you will? Yes, so 0. So I have cleared him with progress, the 10, so it says return 1 gear from my ranger discard to my hand. You know, as good as my bow is, it doesn't hurt to have this amazing carbon forged cable sitting around, so I'm going to get that. This guy goes away, sadly, with my loot. And all I've left is fitness, so I guess I might as well try to do the hanging cherry moss. And let's just spend both on 1 test, make sure we hopefully succeed. So that's 2 red, beautiful. Although that red result will fatigue me again. So it says pluck. I had 1 out of 3 progress. Oh, and I soothed 2 fatigue. Nice. Oh, wait a second. These cards resolve before the animals that are engaged with me. And look, this has a yellow effect. If there's an active prey exhausted, and add 1 progress to this feature. So that means this little buddy never robbed me because he would have already been exhausted by picking out the moss. So this has 2 progress now, not 1. And I still have my belt pouch with 1. And remember, the moss gives me 2 cards for my fatigue. Let's see, universal power cells attached to any equipped tech. You can use cells from this attachment as if they were tokens of the attached tech. That's amazing. So I can just give anything 3 more uses. And then moment of desperation, 2 fitness. Discard an equipped gear to add harm to a being equal to the number of tokens on the discarded gear. Wow, so I can just blow somebody up with my canteen or something. Awesome. But I do have to get 1 fatigue from the red effect. So I'm down to 11 cards, and I'm about to draw another one because I'm ending my turn. Drew Vigilant. You can discard this card to count as 1 green energy. That's nice. All right, so I should be able to get the Cherry Moss next turn. That'll only be 1 token. I'll still need 1 more. And let's see what the path has in store. Overgrown Thicket. Oh, good. Another feature. Okay, so that'll have more tokens. It's an obstacle, which remember means I can't go and explore my location. For a green action, I can find a path to add progress equal to my effort. I need 2 to overcome this. For a blue focus action, I can hide to exhaust 2 beings. That'd be awesome if that spider was hunting me. But let's see, with a red, I'll remove 1 progress from the overgrown thicket as you become lost, and it fatigues me for 1, its purple value. But yeah, that one's going to be a lot easier to do than the cherry moss, so let's take care of that right away. So I can do the basic red action instead of the one that it offered me. So let's go and do 2 fitness. And then compasses are the extra icon. And I have none of those. Sorry, I should be over here for the red fitness action, but it's still compasses. Okay. But that's right. If I fail, I can take the green action and continue adding progress. So 2 red, unboosted. Not quite enough. -1. So I get 1 progress on this. Now let's see the sun. I move 1 trail token from a feature to another. Oh, well, heck, let's make this a 3 and get rid of the moss. Or, well, actually, I don't have any red left to do the moss, even though it would heal me. Okay, then there are no prey to pick at the moss. So that's it for effects. So yeah, now I'm definitely going to do a green test to find a path and finish getting this thicket. And let's see what I've been doing. Use my exceptional tracker to add a token to my canteen. Use it as a green plus that, so that's 2 green. And with my favorite gear, I'll draw a fatigue card. And I'm not sure if there's a hand limit of 6 and when that's enforced, but for now I have a lot of stuff. Ooh, and I can use Vigilant as a compass. So let's go to make it 3 so I can't fail. So yeah, 3 effort, and boom, it was a 0, so that's more than enough, and then we'll do a blue effect. So I do clear this thicket, which gets me 3 more here. which means I have 4 R or more trail tokens, so I'm going to read number 100, but let's go and do the blue effect first. Or no, I guess I wouldn't, because whatever cards come out from that will activate their blue effect, so let's see what happens. After hours of wandering the valley, following your intuition and the faint signs of Quizzy Voss's passage, you might have found something concrete. The signs of recent passage through the undergrowth, and a little later, a faint impression of a footprint in the soft ground. Quizzy can't be far. Check the current day. Well, I mean, day is like an entire session. I guess if I had chosen to do other quests instead of this one and let her just kind of sit out in the wilderness by herself, I would maybe be later. But here I'm going to go to 100A. As you make your way through a thick grove of pines, you peek around a fallen log to find Quizzy Voss standing at the edge of a bare patch of ground, poking at something with a long stick. "Oh, hello," she says when she notices you. "Look at this." Thankfully, Quizzy seems completely unharmed and unfazed. "What do you think it is?" she asks. It appears to be an exceptionally large, orange-veined Calvatia mushroom. It quivers with every poke from Quizzy's stick, like it might burst at any moment. Your instinct is to draw Quizzy away, then as you step forward, you notice a predator stalking the young one. All right, combat time. Each ranger shuffles up to 3 cards from the discard into their deck. Oh, good, we get more time. We have completed the Search Quizzy Voss mission. We're going to rescue Quizzy Voss now, so we're going to flip the mission over. This is exciting. And she'll come into play, and we attach Rescue to her. We do not read her stuff yet. We have to take her to a ranger station. Oh, Northern Outpost or Lone Tree. Well, that's easy. We're already at Lone Tree. It's nice when she's just hanging out right by our base. Okay, and then we got to search the path for the next predator. So we're going to go through the deck until we get the next thing. Hopefully, it is not a giant spider creature. All right, so here's the rescue mission. Force response. After the being indicated by the mission ender plays, attach this card to them. The attached being gains persistent. That means even if we traveled, she would still be around. The attached being cannot gain and cannot be cleared by progress. Okay, now let's see. Force response. After you travel to a ranger station, 103. Oh, wait, do we have to, travel and come back? That seems dumb. No, they can't intend that, can they? And oh, this red effect is nasty. The hunt is up. Search the path deck and discard for the next predator and put it into place. There's all kinds of people hunting her. But first we draw our predator. Are you kidding me? Aatrox, stop follow me, dude. We're not that into you. All right, so wait, I get 3 cards from my discard. I don't even know what I need. I guess let's get things that give us traveling information. That balance card was good. Sure, we'll use all of those. But then the friggin' Aatrox ambushes me for 2 fatigue. I do get to reveal Quizzy, but again, we're not doing anything with her yet. She just has to be rescued. So you know what? I'm not entirely sure if I just immediately count as rescuing her because she's already at Lone Tree, or if I have to leave and come back. I'm gonna just house roll it for now and say that I gotta kill the cat. Or tie him up or something, and then we'll say that we won. So let's go for ultimate attack. 3 focus tokens, and they'll use an arrow. What does this use? Okay, that symbol, I'm not even sure what that is. But I know I've got at least one of them. Okay, Carbon Forged Cable, that's +1. That gets me to 4 effort. Moment of Desperation gets me to 5. And that's it. So this guy's got 4 harm he can take. If I don't get a -2, I got him. So I say, Quizzy, get down! And I draw +1! Ooh! And then, oh no, the red, what? So I do defeat him, but I activate the red and the next predator comes out. Well, we'll keep on fighting. And it is another Aatrox, the one that was following us before. Wants to avenge the person I just killed. Oh noes! What do I have left? Yellow? I can try to connect with him. No, he doesn't want to talk to me. I can put some universal power cells into play. Give me 3 more uses of something. Sure, let's go and make my canteen extra special. So boom. That was the wrong card, but there we go. Now we got 3 more uses of the canteen. We are out of tokens for the turn. All right, we got to defeat 1 more cat. Let's do this. So we'll draw a card. A Vigilant, okay. We get a new path. Okay, this is just a feature. It's where the airship is. We're not going to mess around with that. So I really care about is defeating this guy. All right, let's use our final arrow for now. I can use my Tinker ability to get more back. I used all my focus, but ooh, I would need to get a +1 to actually defeat this guy. Anything is possible? Yes! Awesome. So that will be a reshuffle and yellow effects. It doesn't look like the new mission has any. So that's 4. He's done. And again, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I have to leave Lone Tree and come back or go to the other base, but I think I've shown off kind of how the game works. That was a little taste of Earthborne Rangers. You didn't even see me get to interact with people, have little adventures, unlock new cards. There's lots of cool things with that. And of course, because I was a little bit worried about running 2 characters at once, I didn't show you the co-op, but you can fight each other's monsters and use actions on each other and heal each other and play cards on each other and give each other equipment and stuff. Lots of cool ways to cooperate. So let's get to my impressions of the game. So first of all, I have to say this game reminds me a lot of Arkham LCG, and that is my #1 game of all time, so that is not a bad thing. The playing of cards for gears and events, of course, that's in a lot of games. These tokens kind of acting like your actions. I think it works really well. I really like this aspect, how you can spend more tokens and make your tests more likely, how you can also, a la Arkham, discard cards to get bonuses. But unlike Arkham, this is not a chaos bag, and the results are very kind to you, and if you go over by 2, you are guaranteed to succeed, which I think is very nice for a game of this weight and doesn't really stress me out too much. Now, the only negative I have of this is that sometimes you'll have tokens that don't seem very useful. Like several times with my character who's very good at blue focus, before I drew my good equipment, I would just be using focus to draw cards, but that gets me closer to being exhausted. So I think that's going to happen sometimes where you just don't have as many tokens as you want, and you might feel like you have to end your turn early, but it's not a big deal because ending your turn just means you draw 1 card and draw 1 new path card, so it's not a terrible thing. But yeah, sometimes I felt like my options were slightly limited, but that's the same as in all of these games. Like if you don't draw your weapon when you're the defender in Arkham, or if you don't draw your good combo in Marvel Champions. I think all LCGs have that issue, and it's not too bad here. You do have a lot of things you can do with those basic actions, so it's not like you're losing the game because you didn't draw the right card. The card play itself seems really cool. I like my character, my gear. And the fact that I could unlock new cards, I've done this in some of my other plays, and get cool new equipment that nobody else has, or that I can just build my character. And I like this deck construction. It's again like Arkham, unlike Marvel or Lord of the Rings, where you basically build your character at the beginning, and then it's minor changes after each session. You're leveling up in minor ways. You don't kind of reconstruct an entirely new deck. Now, of course, on the flip side, that's not going to appeal as much to Marvel Champions, Lord of the Rings players, and Magic the Gathering players and that kind of thing, who are looking for constant deck construction and trying out crazy combos every time. This game really wants you to build a character and play through a campaign, play through missions, kind of grow and explore the world. So if you're looking for constant deck construction and trying out new combos every game, you're not really going to get that. As for the setting, I think it's fascinating. I like the flavor text I've read. I like that you don't have to kill things. In that first place, I just ran away from the lions. You can befriend some of the animals. That's really neat. You meet a lot of people that have their own little stories and can kind of become your allies. And again, you don't really die. Even injuries, which I never got, they don't kill you. They just give you automatic fatigue every turn, so they kind of run out your day faster. And the whole traveling things and seeing different things, that's really cool. Now, one concern with that, though, and this is very similar to what I said about Lands of Galzier, because even though these games play super differently, that one's more like a choose-your-own adventure, and this is much more of an LCG card game. They both have the feature or problem, depending on your perspective, that, you have a limited amount of stuff to see. It seems like a lot, but I don't really know. I'm only playing the demo. So I'm not sure when things might get stale, when you might start seeing the same things. If cats keep coming up in every game I play, is that going to get a little boring? They were in the mountains and the forest. Now, I found them fun. It's not like enemies really get boring because you can deal with them in different ways, but I can see things potentially getting samey, maybe. And also, while I might be wrong on this, I think this game has the same thing as Galzier, where you have quests, you have missions to do, but I don't know if there's ever an official ending or an overarching boss. I think you're just kind of exploring around and having fun and having encounters and doing cool stuff. Now, this one does seem to have a bit more of a feeling of forward progress than Galzier, because you are leveling up your deck and unlocking stuff, but still, I think you have to enjoy the idea of exploring and emergent storytelling and that kind of thing. If you want a more specific narrative with an ending, like Tainted Grail or something like that, I'm not sure if you're going to get that here, although again, I'm not quite clear on how it's going to end up. Maybe Jason talked about that in his podcast. You can listen to those. Now, another quick thing to discuss, the cooperation. It seems pretty good. You can play many of your cards on each other, although unlike Arkham, you can't play your cards to boost their checks, but the checks in this game aren't too challenging. You usually have enough resources if you want to go in for it to succeed, so I think that's okay. And you're always at the same location, so it's not like you're really moving away from each other. You can always help each other to fight each other's beasties and that kind of thing. You're always helping together on the mission. So I think the co-op is generally good. It's not the most integrated I've ever seen in a game like this, but it does its job. Hey, this is Mike from the future real quick. I realized that I didn't talk about another thing I love, which is the 3 colored effects whenever you have a challenge, because they activate all these really thematic things. Like you saw how prey will be attacked by predators, or they'll eat moss off of a tree, or mountains will crumble upon you. I think there's a lot of great events that use that 3 color aspect to kind of power things and give you a lot of a theme. So yeah, that was Earthborne Rangers. Check it out on Kickstarter right now. I think I'm probably in for this one. Again, it's like Arkham, my #1 game, but it's more family-friendly. It's less stressful. I could totally see teaching my 8-year-old this, especially by the time it delivers, he'll probably be 9 or 10. I think he would have a blast. I can see playing this with my wife. I enjoyed playing it with Peter. We've done some co-op plays. So I think this is a nice one for harder core gamers, as long as you like narrative and exploration, and also for more casual kind of families who want to have a fun story together. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you at the next stop.